Florida lawmakers are bringing awareness to the effects of concussions. They honored two families whose children died due to concessive injuries. A bill that would require parents and legal guardians to receive educational materials about contact sports will receive a vote in the House committee. Wednesday, families advocated for proper care of the body and brain while playing contact sports. They also spoke about furthering scientific research on concussions and other brain injuries.
What is it that we're not hearing? What is it that we're not saying? What is it that we're not doing? There's something that has to change. If not, our kids don't have a future.
In remembrance of the families impacted by concussions, the bill also seeks to establish a Parkman Lewis Day.